Hello and welcome back to Shokuho, and we are indeed in another battle here. Now, bear in mind, I have not yet captured the town, and there is a very good reason for that. Obviously, as you saw at the end of the previous episode, we had a bit of a crash, which is obviously fine. Not that big a deal, because what we can do now is we can go back in there and we can continue farming. Now, what's actually really funny, though, is that we've been attacked much more often than we were beforehand. Not sure why, but we're getting attacked by a lot of vassals. They're coming out of the woodwork and they're attempting to stop us from taking this. Now, in their attempts to actually defeat us, I have leveled up. I've leveled up one more time, which is actually pretty nice, because that means I now have an additional focus point to spend. Although, to be fair, well, spending any points in Bannerlord doesn't really give you as much satisfaction as when you spend them in Warband, but that's okay. You know, that's okay, because it's all going to go towards making us into a more powerful character in the long run. So I'm obviously going to attempt to... there we go, there we go. Alright, I'm getting a little bit better at using the gun, by the way. I've actually started to hit a little bit more often, and I will be specking some additional points into it after leadership. I do want to put another point into leadership just to make sure that we have, you know, a continued learning rate as time goes on. We're going to obviously get out of here now, and I'm going to need to tell these guys to go ahead and skirmish a little bit as well. And we need to be very, very careful here, because I am probably going to end up dying, possibly. Let's be a little bit careful. I'm just going to tell my infantry to charge in here. There we go. Nice. Okay, bear in mind, we have 260 enemies, right? 260 enemies for us to fight here, which is pretty significant, but that's okay. That's actually fine. 260 just means that we are going to get more experience for our people. We're going to get more prisoners converted, and it's just going to generally make things a little bit more exciting for us as well, because anytime we have an opportunity to fight on a larger scale battlefield, I am all for that every single time. Thank you very much. Apart from, obviously, if they're wanting to fight me with over 1,000 troops, then miss me with that, thank you. But, you know, everything else I am more than willing to give it a go. And otherwise, oh yeah, these guys are actually proving themselves to be quite dangerous. Some of them, at least. Some of them. Nice. There we go. There we go. Okay, don't get shot by that guy. Thank you very much. Okay, let's be very careful. And we're all good. We're all good. Absolutely fine. 100% there. Take that guy down. And I think we're actually all done. Yes. Look at that. We literally took no casualties. Yeah, well, very few casualties, just purely because we had this amazing environment. The battlefield gave us such a huge advantage here. Being able to stand on the top here was amazing. Gave us huge time to shoot at the opponent, and that's all that we needed. You know, that is literally all we needed. And I'm just going to speed through the last remaining little bit of the battle, and that is it. There we go. We got 21 renown for that. 11 morale. Very, very nice. We're going to need that when we convert some of the prisoners. It's going to be very, very useful for us. Okay, so going to take these guys prisoner. I'm basically taking every single one of them prisoner. And oh, who's this guy? Oh, hello there. I am going to let him go, apparently. Yes. Ah, now this is even better than prisoners. Yes, this is absolutely fantastic. Being able to rescue people is even better than that. So yeah, that's exactly what we're going to do. I'm not going to take any of these. Yeah, that is just not what I'm interested in right now. And let me just see if we can find some tier 4s. There we go, tier 4s. And I think that's probably all we're going to do right now. There we go. Now, we're going to get a huge amount of loot here, of course, too. And I'm just going to take a couple of pieces here. Going to take the food. And then we're just going to move on. And we're going to donate the rest, of course. Donate the rest as much as possible, as we are gaining additional experience as a result of that for our forces. And we can hopefully level them up Yep, look at that. Massive amounts of level ups right there. And let's see. I'm thinking we're going to go for a couple of bowmen. Yeah, we're going to go for a couple of bowmen here. And as you can see, we have 164 in the garrison. Now, I'm just going to update you on our stats as well. So I have actually done a little bit, like I said to you before, I have respect some of my focus points. So in other words, we're no longer having a focus point in polearms, in steward, or in charm. Actually, not steward. It was scouting skill, sorry. So polearms, charm, and scouting skill, I don't have any focus points in those anymore, and instead I placed some points in riding, 2 points in riding, and I believe I put 1 more point into roguery. Yes, I put a point into roguery because inevitably we are going to be selling prisoners, and it is just, well, it just makes sense. I think it just makes sense, at least a little bit, to do that, and otherwise we're going to put 1 additional focus point into leadership here, just because, as I said, it is, in my opinion, very, very useful for us. And otherwise, we are just going to wait here a little bit longer. And, oh yeah, by the way, I just want to let you know that I did actually try out the Ozutsu siege thing, and it doesn't seem to actually be doing much. I had it active in the previous time that I went into this siege, and it didn't do much at all. I am gonna put one out just so that you can actually see what it's like. But yeah, as we go in here, you'll see it's a little bit uncomfortable, the beginning here, because a lot of the enemies are ranged. They're just completely and utterly ranged. Very, very difficult to yeah, make that work. All right, so there's the Ozotsu over there. So I'm just gonna walk over, and as you can see, this is it. And basically, as you see here, if you want to you know, use it, you just use it like this, and then you can well, I mean, obviously you could try to shoot at someone like that, and it is actually pretty good. Don't get me wrong, it is actually pretty fun to use. Unfortunately, you're gonna have to be the one to reload it, or I actually have no idea how this works. Do I need to reload it now, or yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know how to reload it. I mean, look, I can go over here, but this doesn't allow me to pick up the ammunition or anything like that. I'm assuming you need 2 people to be able to do, you know, actually activate this thing. So yeah, it's a little bit of a weird system going on there. But I just wanted to show you that because someone actually mentioned that these things are really good, and I'm sure they are really good, but apparently not very good for me. Let's just say that. They didn't seem to be particularly useful, unfortunately. And I'm hopeful that maybe we're going to be able to use them a little bit later on. Maybe when we have a slightly different siege layout. I think that's probably going to be the thing that will actually make a big difference. I think this siege layout is very troublesome, I think is the best word to describe it, because there's a number of cases where we just literally have people not really able to do too much because the enemy is hiding behind the walls very effectively, and they're making it very difficult for our gunners to even hit them. So that's obviously a problem. Now, funnily enough, I have found that even though I have a huge amount of gunners and stuff like that, I actually think that putting them on fire at will is not very effective. Now, I know I said in the previous episode, oh, I should really put them on fire at will. That's really going to make a much bigger difference than, you know, letting them use their melee attacks. Actually, that is not the case. From what I have seen, putting them on fire at will is actually more detrimental to our overall efficiency or success, whatever you want to call it, than not doing that. So, yeah, a bit strange. Oh yeah, we're through the second gate now, and this is where we get to go to town. Oh yeah, this is literally where we get to go to town. Unfortunately for me, they are going to close the gate in just a second. I am going to try to eliminate as many of these guys as I can. Bear in mind, we do have Doctor's Oath now, so a lot of the enemy are just going to get knocked unconscious, which is obviously fine. That is really not that big a deal, apart from the fact that if we take too long to go back in, then the enemy is going to have a much easier time of restoring themselves. However, my forces are doing a very, very good job of clearing out the archer nest, and indeed I think we might have an opportunity to push forward and finish this finally, because obviously in the previous episode we tried to do that and my forces just got absolutely massacred by all the archers. But I think we should have a much easier time this time around, because look at my forces coming in here. They've already destroyed the gate. They can basically just overrun them very, very fast, as you can see right there. And then they can go into the archery nest, and then that's all she wrote. Yeah, so very, very appreciative of the fact that we have slightly more infantry now. I don't know whether you noticed that, but I've actually started leveling up more people into infantry rather than just gunners, because clearly that was not really working as effectively as it possibly could. And so I was like, okay, let's just go for a couple more infantry. That's probably going to make a bit more sense. So we're otherwise just going to send our forces in there. 26 renown for us, which is, again, not really what I'm looking for. 26 renown is very, very little reward for what we just did, but it's okay. It's fine. We're mostly trying to do this, and indeed they have now been eliminated. There you go, the Arima have been destroyed, and that is it. Yes, wonderful. So we now owe this, and own this, I said, not owe this. Yeah, no. Anyway, what we're going to do, get rid of all these construction things. We don't want that, and we're just going to have festivals and games right now. And we are otherwise going to try and see. My leadership is almost... Yeah, it's almost there. I need to get it to 125. 125 is going to be the play. And once we have it at 125, I can spec into this extremely useful perk called Presence. And this is going to enable me to stabilize the security of this town much, much easier than it would be if I were to leave it by itself. Because as you can see right here, my security at the moment is only 15. So not particularly pleased about that. But yes, that's all we can... We can't really do much about that. So otherwise, look at how many people we can recruit. It's amazing. I love it. So now we can just recruit all these guys. We could go into the garrison, place some more people in there, and we are indeed just going to be putting Ashigaru in there because there is no point in actually keeping them around, as far as I'm aware. They're very, very good at being quite cheap and being... I mean, let's face it, they're actually pretty good. If you make them into gunners, they could do a lot of damage and in a very surprising way. So yeah, we could just kind of leave that around there. And the only other thing that we can do now is we could basically just wait and see what happens. And obviously we do want to create a governor. A governor is going to be very important for us as we create our own faction. So that's obviously something to bear in mind. Now, what we're going to do is we are actually going to be... The question is, do I want to... I could ransom these guys. That's the funny thing. I could ransom these guys for a lot of cash right now. If you see here, I can ransom him for 2,000. I'm going to get some roguery skill for this, but that's it. Is it worth? You know what? Let me actually just see something real quick. I'm not entirely sure. Let's see. I can't even talk to them right now, can I? No, it doesn't seem like it. Alright. Yeah, we'll just sell them then, I guess. Not really something I wanted to do. I would have liked to have tried to persuade them to join us, but I actually don't know whether that's even possible for me right now, so I will just sell them. And we do get another 12,000, which I suppose is okay. Not really what I'm looking for, but it's okay. Anyway, our loyalty is going to be fine. Governor, obviously we need to make sure that there is a good governor in here. So what I'll do, we might place one of our lower combat skilled people in there as the governor. Let's actually choose a book to read as well, by the way, because I've actually read this one. So let's read this one over here. I have no idea what this one is all about. Yeah, I have no idea. So we're just going to do that, and we can otherwise have a look and see if there are any other companions that we can level up. I think I am actually maxed out in terms of companions. Yes, I am maxed out, so I won't be able to do anything with that. However, this guy, okay, no, he's not looking particularly good. All right, I was kind of hoping that we might be able to get a mounted companion. That would be pretty useful for us, but no, it doesn't seem like we're going to be able to do that soon, at least. All right, so I'm actually doing a bit of a risky maneuver here. We are declaring war against the Zagara, and we are actually going to be making sure that we just continue to earn as much renown as we can, because we're actually not even that far away. As you can see, I'm only 120 renown away from getting the next clan tier, which is exactly what we're looking for. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have, well, basically neither of these are any good, but it doesn't really matter, I suppose. But yeah, we want to make sure that we can take this castle almost immediately, so that's what we're going to do. Now, bear in mind, I don't have significantly powerful... Oh, battlefield remains are right here. I probably should have gone in there, to be honest. Didn't even see that, to be honest. But yeah, oh well, never mind. Okay, it's a bit sad. But yeah, anyway, I should probably be putting a governor in Hinoue at the moment. But I'm actually going to wait with that for a little bit. Just because I don't know, I'm a little bit worried about it, to be honest. A little bit worried about it right now, but yeah, I don't really want to let any of my companions go just yet, and I feel like what I could do is I could get a much better governor just by waiting until we get the next clan tier. That's going to provide me with an additional companion slot, and that's hopefully going to provide us with who we need, and then we can create a person there, and hopefully that's going to make a big difference. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing that we want to do, or at least that I want to try to do here. Now, I don't know how good we're actually going to do here in regards to taking this castle, but all I really know is that we have to do it. We have to do it. Otherwise, we are going to remain stagnant, and that's the problem. I am just a little bit, shall we say, disappointed that they decided to put so many people in the garrison here. It's really making things a little bit more uncomfortable than it would otherwise have to be, but there you go. So let's see what we could do. Let's see what we can do. Oh, okay. So let's have a look. How is this going? Well, clearly it is going to be a little bit tricky. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit tricky. All right. Well, hopefully... Oh, yeah, by the way, I gave myself a horse, as you can see. And this is going to be super nice to use our gun on. And indeed, is this a ladder that I can use? Yes, I think it is. Okay, this is going to be very good. If I can get up here with the ladder... I have no idea how he's moving this by himself, by the way. He must be extremely strong. But yeah, otherwise, let's just go up here. Okay, I might get shot. No, I seem okay. Alright, okay. So far. Nice. Yeah, come on now, let's go. Okay, I'm trying not to get shot. Oh, so many shots all over the place right there. I was doing that solo, by the way, so that was obviously not exactly great. But we did distract a huge amount of enemy troops from firing at our own people, which is extremely useful, because as you can see, look at how much we're able to do right here. We're getting some really good progress on the siege itself. If we start to take more casualties, then I will retreat, I think, probably. We are starting to, we're starting to take quite a few casualties right now. So that was a good siege, in my opinion. That was actually a very, very good siege, because what we're going to be able to do now is we're going to have to wait for a little bit of time. It's going to level up my medicine skill, which is another goal of ours, of course. I do want to try to level up my medicine as fast as we possibly can. And being able to do that by rejuvenating is one of the things. As you can see right there, we just got 100 in medicine. Very nice. And now what we could do is we can get best medicine, which I personally think is, well, I think it's obviously a lot better than good lodging, because good lodging, yeah, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It is very good because it obviously provides you with plus 20% healing rate while resting in settlements, which is 5% more than best medicine. But best medicine is almost always going to be active most of the time. If you're winning battles and you're able to consistently gain a significant amount of morale over and over and over again, you're probably going to have this 99% of the time. So that's generally the reason why I like to take it. Good lodging obviously is very, very good if you're not expecting to be winning. Alright, so this is indeed a battle against the Daimyo himself of the Zagara. So we're going to actually see what we could do here, because this is... Whoa, okay, we're outnumbered dramatically, by the way. He has 228, we have 86. But I'm almost 100% certain that he doesn't have anything particularly amazing, because we know him, you know, we know the Zagara, so we are not really going to have... Hopefully, we're not going to have too many issues with them. So let's just do this. And let me see here. I need to place these guys over here, them there. There we go. All right, fantastic. Everyone is now sorted out. And yeah, I am not going to charge in there. I'm not going to charge in there by myself. That is not really going to work out too well. So we're just going to relax a little bit. And we're going to see if the enemy is actually going to come over here. I mean, they should technically be very, very happy to come over. Okay, we are shooting at them, but for some reason not getting any kills right now. A little bit dubious about that. I am very low in HP, by the way, so of course I am going to die very fast. Nice. That was a nice hit right there. Very, very nice. And we did get some good guns. Wait a minute. We reloaded that fast? Okay. 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 This is very peculiar. I'm leveling up extremely quickly. From... well, shall we say not leveling up, but yes, I am actually leveling up extremely quickly in riding skill at the very least. But my reload speed is astoundingly fast. Very nice. I like that. Then we don't have to worry so much about it. Nice. There we go. There we go. Wow, we are getting some really, really good damage on here. Yeah, we're actually going to tell our cavalry and so on and so forth to start moving forward. We're going to tell our infantry to start moving forward as well. And we will literally just let our forces do their own thing for the moment as well. Okay, weirdly enough, I missed that. We've got a very, very nice weapon for cavalry combat as well, surprisingly enough. I mean, really, shouldn't be very surprised, but yeah, it is actually insanely good. As you can see. Absolutely just murders everything in sight, if I can actually hit with it, because I'm not used to fighting on a horse. There we go. Massive damage. Massive damage. Oh, yeah. That is what we like to see. So that's obviously the reason why I wanted to put some focus points into riding skill, because we're going to be able to level it up really, really quickly. And indeed, it is making a pretty big difference in regards to our overall ability to use our gun too. As you could quite clearly tell, it was so much better on a horse because we were able to reload it that much faster. Because on foot, you don't really reload it that quickly, unfortunately. Nice. Okay, that was indeed a victory for us right there. And that was an extremely efficient victory. 20 renown as well. This is exactly the reason why I wanted to attack someone relatively quickly, straight away after eliminating the previous faction, because being able to generate additional renown is going to help us so much more dramatically than just waiting around, you know, for whatever to happen. We really did need to do that. So otherwise, we now have... well, I'm going to be taking some additional tier units, of course. We're just going to be taking these guys. I can't take too many. So we're just going to take this. There we go. And we're obviously going to level up a couple of people as well. I need to make sure that I'm taking some food here, because I am running out of food, hilariously enough. That is quite a funny thing that happens now. But yeah, we're otherwise just going to be donating the rest to our party. And look at how much we are going to level up right here. This is just crazy good. Okay, so we're going to just get archers. Some archers, that is. Just not a huge amount, but some of them. Definitely going to be useful. And indeed, we can now recruit a couple of people here. And there we have it. Okay, so we're going to continue the siege. Let's see what happens. Are they gonna see fit to attack us again? Well, I'm obviously going to be waiting for a little bit of time here just to make sure that we are back to full strength. Alright, so we're gonna go in after starving out the garrison. What do we have to lose? There's only 3 days worth of food in here. Yeah, come on, we gotta do it, right? Anyway, we do have a couple of siege engines, or shall we say ozotsus, that I thought, hey, you know what? Okay, let's try it. You know, let's try it out again, because maybe this is a slightly different... well, slightly different siege layout. It very clearly is a different siege layout, so it might be kind of fun to try it. Unfortunately for me, I don't think my forces are actually manning these things, which would mean that I would be the one to have to do that, which, as you know, I am very bad at it. And I'm one of those generational talents when it comes to being unable to use siege very well. It doesn't have a crosshair, doesn't have any kind of assistance whatsoever, so it is going to make things extremely difficult, especially for someone like me. However, if you can work it out and actually have it be something relatively useful for you, as in if you can work out how it works, the projectile travel path and stuff like that, then you're probably going to have a great time. Is this guy serious right now? Okay, there we go. That guy was very, very stubborn, shall we say? Let's kill this guy. Okay, I've got to remember that I can actually deflect arrows. Alright, not too bad, not too bad, no, not too bad. Now, if we can just eliminate this guy and then take out the gate, I will be very, very pleased. I have 249 in athletics now, by the way. So once I get to 275, you know what's going to happen then. We're going to turn into an absolute tank. Or at the very least, we will be making ourselves into a much more difficult target to deal with, which I very much appreciate. That is really going to make a huge difference to our survivability. Otherwise, let's get in there and actually activate Terra. Terra is the reason why these guys are running away, by the way, I'm pretty sure. Obviously, it does make a pretty big difference anyway to just go in there and actually be able to kill as many enemies as you possibly can. Of course, that makes a difference. However, I think having the perk Terra really has the ability to fully encapsulate how dangerous it actually is. I was actually holding the block button there. I was holding the block button there. Not sure how the deflection perk actually works. So, you know, it's the first time I'm actually using it properly, because I've always basically dodged in the past. But I don't know whether you noticed, but there's a very, very cool... This is also something that I'm not sure whether a lot of people realize about most of the time when dealing with these kinds of siege layouts. I don't know whether you noticed it beforehand when we were in the other siege, But basically, there's a very narrow pathway here. Look at this narrow pathway. And the reason why this is difficult, obviously, for us to deal with is because it limits the amount of places that you yourself are going to be able to dodge to. For example, you can only go from, you know, right to left, left to right, very narrowly. It is not a wide open space where you can basically decide on wherever you want to go. Like, for example, over here, in this sort of like, you know, slightly more central area, you're going to have a much easier time of maneuvering. But in these tight corners and tight little narrow spaces, it's going to be very, very difficult to get inside and actually deal with the opponent in a satisfying manner. You're going to have some hard times, especially when it comes to penetrating the defenses of your opponent. Obviously, if you can come in from behind, it's going to be a lot easier. And there it is. Our forces stormed the final gate, and it seems like they have retreated to the keep. Well, that does make a lot of sense, doesn't it? Yeah, there's probably quite a few of them that decided to do that. Yeah, 41. Unfortunately, I do not have enough HP to go in there myself, so I will just have to send my forces in there by themselves. And with that out of the way, 32 renown under our belts, we're going to move on. And we're going to see if we can... yeah, well, there's not really going to be much we can do here. I can recruit a couple of these prisoners. I don't really want to take anything higher than tier 4. That is one thing that I very much want to steer clear of. Yeah, we should be pretty good with this. Am I actually doing the right thing here? Yeah, I think so. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't taking any Ashigaru or anything like that. Okay, that's absolutely fine. And I think, yeah, we're not really... Oh! Banner of Fearsome Violence increases melee damage by 10%. Actually, you know what? I personally think that the movement speed is going to be more impactful than 10%. At least I think so. I could give that to one of my companions, of course, which may make some sense, I suppose. So yeah, I guess I will just give it to this fellow. I have no idea. I have no idea who to give it to, but yeah. Anyway, we'll just show mercy here, and we'll once again do the same thing where we're just going to stop all of the constructions, because otherwise they're not actually going to get done that fast anyway. And we're just going to put these bits of loyalty, make sure that the loyalty starts increasing rather dramatically. We need to make sure that they do not fall into rebellion. That is one of the biggest problems that I personally face, but that's okay. That's okay. You know why? Because once we create our own faction, which is hopefully going to happen sooner rather than later. As you can see, I'm only 67 away now, which is really not very much at all. And all I need, and it's going to be easy if we get lucky, is a couple of vassals to come on over here and try to make trouble. And that's it. Anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.